A ship would never leave a harbor if it did not have a destination. If you were to climb to the navigation bridge and ask the captain the name and location of his next port of call, he would tell you immediately. There's not the slightest doubt in his mind. Can you tell anyone your destination just as quickly and in one sentence? The captain of the ship knows that he can arrive at only one port at a time. He knows that it's impossible to arrive at two. Do you know that?
Alright folks, no long intro. So we're looking at the PM macro, so I'm expecting higher prices. It's concerning to see this sort of reaction from this imbalance. Ideally, I'd like to see it trade through it and keep heading higher. And that's exactly why I took partials inside of that, because it could potentially use that to head lower. I don't want to see that happen. I actually want to see this high taken within the next 30 minutes. But let's see how price reacts from this order block, and then we'll actually know if we're on the right side of the markets or not.
What you know. And while they cling to their false alibis, life passes them by. For the rules of life are just, and they are checkmated, without haste, but without remorse. Now what about you? Remembering that the definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, what's the ideal toward which you are working? Now, today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Can you write it in one sentence? Is your goal sharply and clearly defined? If you can tell me what you want, I can tell you how to get it. You see, the trick is not in achieving our goals, it is in establishing them. You are at this moment the sum total of your thoughts to this point, for there is nothing else you can be. Succeeding in life has always been a matter of doing that which the great majority does not do. That's just the way it is, and if we don't recognize it, it will be to our cost. To amount to anything as individuals, we've got to be individuals. We've got to have individual goals, individual thinking, individual action. We must never conform to the great mass of people, but never the crowd, never the 95%. You know what the answer was, the secret to achievement that I had devoted nearly 20 years to finding? Its pure simplicity had caused it to elude me. I had been looking for something complicated, something only a mind prepared by years of study could grasp, and I found the answer so simple a child can understand it. In 6 words, we are what we think about. Our minds, our thinking, controls our destinies here on Earth to a degree totally unsuspected by the great majority of people. If we become what we think about, and if we can control our minds, we can pretty well tell our own future. And that's the point I want to make. Each one of us is the architect of the structure fashioned by our years. This means that if we're confused about what we wish to become or accomplish, our lives, our environment will mirror that confusion. It also means that if we know what it is we seek, that it must be accomplished. We as individuals can call our own shots for the rest of our lives. We can know what it means to go through life from one success to another, to play life according to the rules and reap the rewards. We can know what it means to have peace of mind and live calm, cheerful, successful lives. The ability to solve successfully the problems which are as much a part of living as breathing. The degree of our success will be determined by the extent to which we can solve our problems. The problem with the great majority of individuals is not with their ability to achieve their goals in life, but rather with the failure to understand 2 factors vital to successful living. The first is to make the decision as to what it is we want enough to give it most of our attention until it's been achieved, and to clearly define it. And the second is to fully understand that we have the ability to achieve this goal, or we wouldn't want it in the first place. In life, you'll know where you are in the world. We can either compete or create. And when we begin to do this, there's no limit to that which we can achieve. Most people will tell you that security rests with a job. This is impossible. There is no such thing as a job that represents security. Anyone with a job can lose it for any one of 1,000 reasons at any time. A job cannot represent security.
All right, folks. It looks like this trade is about to be over within the next few minutes. Very close to our stop loss. But overall, started to scale out as we got closer to this fair value gap in here, which was essentially our terminus. Even though I have my take profit up here, this is best case scenario, but this was the reasonable target. It's really asking a lot for the markets to take out this high, this one, and ultimately this one. So don't think you can get something like that. It could happen, but be realistic here. So we have a fair value gap in here. Right in there, I think I'll close this trade inside that fair value gap because it might use it to go lower. I missed it. I want to have better. There's like a lag, I think, between my orders and my broker because I want it to happen way faster. All right, so here it is. Very curious to see how the markets react to this SIBI if it trades lower from there. Because within the next 10 minutes, we'll see a little bit of volatility. So does it go up or lower? Only one way to figure it out. So we'll give this about 10 minutes. I'll pause the video and then we'll come back and see what the markets did. All right. So we have a big displacement higher right here. This is really good. So if this can actually be sustained, so let's say this candle closes somewhere around here, and the next one trades higher, it takes out this initial high, we might have the next 10 minutes be the markets trading higher and actually be able to reach our best case scenario. A bit of a stretch, but it's always interesting to study these and see how it pans out. So again, I'll pause the video again because I don't want them to be too long, and we'll come back if anything interesting happens. All right, so we have that close higher we would want to see. So this is essentially to me acting as a market structure shift by taking out this short-term swing high here. Now, if it leaves a fair value gap, which is a if, we don't know because let's see, it's almost close to closing that. So, okay. It closed that completely in. So now we want to see price trade higher from here. If it keeps going lower, then it's pretty tricky. There's nothing interesting. But ideally, I don't want to see this candle break this. Because if it does, then this would be considered a radon stop. So taking out buy side. And then now it'd be just bleeding lower. Way lower. So we would be targeting sell side liquidity here. So it can't take this low. If it does, we're heading way lower. We want to see if it can reject here. Give it another couple seconds to see what happens here. All right. So it closed higher. So the body respected this fair value gap in here. Let me remove this. So it respected it. Now, it's important to see what this candle does. Because if we can have a higher close in here, it doesn't actually have to be, but just if the body of this candle respects this, just like this one did, then we're in good shape. So let's see. It's okay to trade lower, but we're looking at the close. If it closes lower, then we're heading lower. But if it can stay inside the fair value gap or even close higher, all right, so let's see. See if it takes this. A lot of ifs here, and that's exactly what you don't want. You don't want to be. That's why I'm not in a trade. If this is completely a bunch of different scenarios here. So if it takes this low, we'll be heading lower. But it's so close to it, man. All right, so it did take out the low. Now let's see if this one, they'll use it as some sort of bearish order block to take prices lower. Doesn't matter, we're not in a trade. So overall, this will be it for me today. There's nothing interesting going on. This was a internal liquidity run essentially. It's not very convincing to go lower or higher, so it may just stay inside this range. So I won't even keep the video any longer. So I hope today's video was insightful. Tricky, choppy PM session, but overall, you can see, let's see my entry. So it was inside of here on top of this bullish order block. Marked it lower here, so this is the mean threshold, because these two candles form the initial order block. But I used this one because I wanted to use mean threshold of the order block. But my entry was up here at the open of the order block. Took partials up here, missed it, and then again up here, and then the last one inside this fair value gap. So talk to you guys tomorrow with another video, hopefully. And do be careful and good trading.